Hi everyone, let's talk about Sagrada, and I really like this game. We've only played it a few times so far, but so for a start, you could see from the playthrough and the box art and everything, it's beautiful. The components are lovely in the game. You know, they didn't have to go to the trouble of making these player boards with the slots for the dice to keep them all lovely. You know, letting you slide the window cards in there. Everything is made really nicely. The dice themselves are lovely, and if you saw the playthrough towards the end as well, it looks beautiful when you completed your window as well. If you have been trying to you have to usually follow the little patterns that you're given. You get these lovely little windows at the end of the game, providing you haven't got tools to let you break the rules, of course. But yeah, so the game looks lovely, the components are fantastic, the gameplay itself, I love dice drafting, and here it's really nice because there's a lot to think about. So the private objectives are something that's always kind of in your mind, and I know that I think it was Joel Eddy that was saying some concerns about this could make it really random because you can there's basically every colour in the game there's a card for one of these, so you'll get a particular colour, but then you've got this huge bag of dice, and what if your colour just doesn't come out very much? That could be a problem. We haven't encountered it, but as I said, we haven't played it that much yet, but it's a concern I heard, so worth repeating. So yeah, you've got that to think about. You've got the public objectives to think about. That can be really interesting as well and conflict with each other. So for things where you want row colour variety, there is also one for column colour variety that can really restrict trying to get both of them. And then we had what in one game, I think the last game that I played had all of the row wanted different colours, all of the columns wanted to be completely different colours, and then you got points for chaining diagonals of the same colour. So to try and make all of that happen would be very difficult indeed, but you'll be rewarded with tons of points if you manage to do it. It's very unlikely though, especially since if you really were desperately trying to go for all this and it relied on a lot going right, then not only have you got the dice to contend with, you've got the other people that you're playing with that can just take the dice that you need as well. Because obviously, if there's two good options for you and you see that somebody else would really love one of them as well, then that's usually the one that you would end up taking. The tools are really nice as well, and they can add some really different things. So we saw the things of moving and just re-rolling dice and everything like that. There are ones where you can, take dice from the top section here from the round counter that we usually just put there just to remind ourselves who has got turns left in the game. I'm stalling for time while I try and grab these tool cards from the box. The bag was in the way. So you've got things like, how the turn order sneaks around, so it goes first, second, first, and if there's four players, it would go a bigger snake. But, after your first turn, take another die straight away and then skip your next turn. There are things where you can ignore the restrictions of certain spaces, the colour or the shade restrictions. There are so after drafting, you can place the die in a spot that's not adjacent to another die. So these things can really change things up, but you are very restricted on how you can use them because you will get between 3 and 6 favour tokens depending on how difficult your window is. And if you can be the first to use it, it's only going to cost you 1. That's fantastic. But then it's going to cost you 2 to use every one after that. It's good that it doesn't go up because you probably would be priced out of a lot of tools very quickly. But it's nice that there's an incentive to do it as quickly as possible. But usually you want to leave it as long as possible, like this one here where move 2 dice. I've had that one before, and it seems fantastic that it lets you move dice. But the fact that it has to be exactly 2 dice, then you've got to end up moving 2. So the one thing that is usually one thing that's really in your way that you've messed up on and is really annoying, but you're going to have to try and find something else that you want to move that's not going to completely mess everything else up. That's a really important thing in placement. It's so important to be focused on what you are placing in the game because, as I said, and I've said in every time I've explained the rules to people, I've said, when you've got this number here and you've got this red whatever here, don't put a red 5 there because then you're not going to be able to place the 5 number in the spot that needs it. And the number of times that I've ended up doing that after warning so many people against it, it's so easily done. But that's a great thing, and it's not really that you aren't at a point of no return. These tools can let you, come back from these mistakes sometimes. And if you've just broken the rules, then the rules just say, take those dice off until you haven't broken the rules anymore. So I think there's a lot of variability in the tools, in the public objectives, and the various combinations and ways they come out. Your private objective, it's just always going to be one of the colours. And, you might want to keep in mind that maybe there's going to be a lot of luck involved in what you can get there. But also, I suppose there's trying to keep it secret which one you've got, because if you're the only person that's trying to desperately grab all of the yellows, everyone's going to be onto you and it's going to be stopping you from getting those. And these rogue colour ones that keep coming out do restrict you from really, really going for one shade if you want all of the points from getting those rogue colours. But it's about balancing out all of these different elements of how are you going to get the most points. What is the best thing to keep in mind? If maybe I drafted a 1 more 3 instead of a 2, that could have been 2 more points because it would have made up the set, and that would have propelled me to victory or whatever. There's a lot of little things like that. There's so much to think about when all you really are doing are picking a dice and putting it somewhere in this window. Things close up so quickly from that beginning placement of, I could put this anywhere, where can it go? And then I have to build adjacent. The window closes up very, very quickly. And towards the end especially, you are sometimes lucky to take anything because you may have just completely painted yourself into a corner with the way that you've placed the dice. But yeah, Sagrada, apart from maybe the risk of chance, and it's a dice game, so if you've managed to make it so that you can only put a particular number or a particular colour in a space and it doesn't come out, then you might have something to do with that as well as the dice. But I can certainly see from the public objectives they could mess you up if that colour just never happens to come out. But that's really the only concern. It's not really a concern for me that much because I've really, really been loving this game. And so yeah, watch the playthrough and see if you'd like it too. Sagrada. Thanks for watching, everyone, and see you for the next game. Bye.